on this episode of Bot vs. Con.
Welcome back, Devastator Wars fans. I guess that's what we can call you now. We are back with another edition of the Devastator Wars. But before we jump into that, I'm Bobby the Bot.
And I'm James the Con.
And today we're going to talk about Fanstoys Gehry, aka their scrapper. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is the Devastator Wars. Make sure to subscribe and consider becoming a member.
Okay, and we're back, and we're going to be talking about Fanstoys Gehry. Now, I must admit, we are a little bit late on this. This figure has been out for a few months, but we definitely wanted to cover it so it can be in the conversation for the Devastator Wars. So, first things first, here he is in bot mode. Before we jump into the details, James, what do you think it looks like? How do you think it looks in bot mode?
Front facing looks great. The back, not so much. That's a lot of junk in the trunk. It reminds me of that Homer Simpson picture where he's all, buff and stuff, and then you look at the back and it's all stretched back with like a clip.
I've not seen
from
that.
The front, it looks great. Doesn't look good from the side or the back.
Yeah, I agree. So why don't we talk about a little bit of the articulation? Now, I haven't messed with this figure since it first came out, so forgive me if I miss some things that it does, or if I try to do some things that it doesn't. But, it can look up about that much. Not much of a look down. Head does spin. We do get wrist rotations. Arms can go fully around, all the way out. We do get a double bend, about that much.
I think that's a single joint.
It is a single. I'm sorry. It is and this is just really tight. It is a single. I do apologize for that. We do get articulated fingers. The thumb is on a ball joint. Index finger. These are all separate. So that's pretty cool. And there's just a pin here to hold all the fingers together. Legs come out about this far. Ooh. There is a little bit of a interference piece here, connecting piece that runs into the side here. That keeps it from going full Van Damme. Does go full that way, and because of the backpack, you don't get much back bend. Knee does bend, and again, about that far. You do get a little bit of thigh rotation, or a little bit of leg rotation. There we go. Not much in the thigh, and there is a slight waist rotation
because of the backpack.
And I'm sure it's also because of just for stability. There isn't an ab crunch that I'm aware of. It looks like it's going to actually break the mold here. And again, I could be wrong about any of these things, so please don't quiz me at the end of this. I think I forgot about the feet. Do get some toe. You do get a little rotation here as well. It's a solid figure, and as you can see, it's very tight still. I transformed it once and put it back on the shelf, so yeah, mine's very, very tight. But yeah, you do get a little foot tilt there, and it will bend down as well. So not the most articulated figure, but I think that's probably due to combine mode. This is a leg, and this bot is very, very heavy, and so they probably wanted to make sure that it didn't interfere with the combine mode. Not necessarily what fans want to hear, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So I think the articulation's fine. Could it have done a little bit more? Yes, but I think it's okay. Yeah, doesn't win my vote for the best scrapper, but I don't think that is a shock.
Yeah, well, I think there's definitely some things that it did great here. Now, in terms of accessories, it does come with his blaster, which I think is really nice. There's definitely some molded detail on here. And it does just plug into his hand like typical Fanstoys. And just a little pig. Can wrap the fingers around. And, you know, he holds it very, very snug. Again, like they typically do. He also comes with one of the trumpets, and this thing is very heavy. It is die cast. You can hear that there. And again, there's just a little tab right here that can plug into his fingers, and you can wrap his hands around that. And of course, this worked better when it was off camera. There we go. And he can hold that, and of course, I just knocked it out of his hand.
Well, the ratchets are so tight, you probably need to get his arm in position, then put it in his hand.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it was. I thought it was going to work, but and again, usually I don't have this much difficulty with this, but I also usually put it in his other hand. Well, anyways, you get the point, and he can go ahead and blow a song.
There you go.
So the other part that comes with this is this monstrosity, and this is for the combine mode. It does connect to his back for storage. Again, this is actually going to make it a bigger backpack, but it simply connects to the back here. Get in there. And that goes down. There we go. And there's the storage for that. And again, it's not the best looking. It's not close. But it is storage. Now you can also store his gun on the back of his leg as well. That's actually where I had it. And there's just a little peg. There we go. So his leg, or his gun, can store on his leg as well. Now the trumpet, it does have storage as well. It's called the box or drawer. So
yeah. Too bad it doesn't transform into the gun.
Yeah. So thoughts about the extended backpack? This is the hiking backpack. That's what that is.
Okay, so that's where he puts all of his, granola bars and stuff.
Exactly.
Well, I think that it's very functional because it is huge, and you can fit a lot of granola bars and little snacks for your hiking trip. So
tent,
perfect.
Tent.
Yeah, you can put a tent in there, maybe some walking sticks.
Yep.
Definitely.
All that.
Yeah, so 10 out of 10 for a hiking backpack. It's horrible though, as just a backpack for a transformer. It is not what I would expect from Fanstoys.
This part surprised me, and I think it surprised a lot of people with how that looked. And again, as you mentioned it, from the front, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
From the sides and definitely from the back, it's a bit of a miss here for me.
Yeah, I agree. But why don't we move on to a comparison with the actual Toon model? And There it is. So you could kind of see that it's a little thicker than the Toon model. I still think that the proportions on it do look good. Is it very accurate? No, but I do think it looks pretty good. I do think the unreleased X-Transbot one is a little closer to what we're seeing on screen right here, but I do think it looks less hulkish, brutish, like it did in some of the previous pictures that we just talked about recently.
I agree. I think that when this was first shown, I mean, again, they changed the purple on it.
Oh yeah,
it's still not as dark as the Toon, or at least what we're seeing on the screen.
It's still a little bit more warm, a little bit more red than I would like. Yeah.
But I think they did pretty good. Some of the details in the legs, they don't really come through that well. But there is some molded detail on here that matches. So I think they did really good. I mean, clearly, skirt and even the molded detail up here, I didn't notice initially, but I think they actually really kind of hit that molded detail. I know this is something that we talked about on the show. I didn't even realize that. The gun is spot on.
Yeah.
They did a very good job with the gun. And again, the head and everything else looks really good. So I think the bot mode, and I like the rims better than the blackout tire. I do think that the only thing that they missed with this is that it is a little bit chunky. It's a little bit big.
And the proportions are a little off. Like, the head looks a little smaller on the Fanstoys than on this. But again, the cartoon changes a lot. So who knows? There could have been another scene where it looks just like the Fanstoys one.
Yep. I completely agree.
Now, as we've discussed, we're going to be doing comparisons with previous devies that we've talked about already, and we did talk about the Mecha Invasion. They're not going to look similar. I don't think anybody's expecting them to, but why don't we just see them side by side for fun?
Yes. So here we go. And they both do something completely different. The one thing I noticed, I mean, you can definitely see how different the purple is and the green. Again, Mecha Invasion is not going for Toon accuracy at all.
They're not even going for Devastator accuracy.
Yeah, exactly. This is, completely different. The shovel is the feet on here, so that makes sense why there's no backpack. Besides, this. This doesn't have windows. So yeah, it's completely different. Let me get my hands out the way a little bit here. The size is definitely different. The weight, I should say. This thing it feels like it's about 2 of these. You can see the placement of the wheels. Here it's at the bottom, here it's on the hips. And I think you didn't like that the Mecha Invasion had the wheels on the hips, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, as hip skirts, I just wish they rotated to the back or something like that.
Yeah. But again, this comparison, you have G1 Toon and you have creativity at its finest.
Yeah. Very good. Very well put. Yeah, they both have the pros and cons. Obviously, I like the Mecha Invasion, but that's just my personal preference. I think the Fanstoys does look good. I'm interested to see what the other scrappers look like. But I think that kind of wraps up bot mode, so I think it's time to get this thing transformed and look at its alt mode.
Yes, so we will be right back. And we're back, and we have Fanstoys Gehry, aka Scrapper, in alt mode. And here we see him from the side, from the front, big old scoop there. Again from the side, from the back, on top, and then on the bottom. So James, let's start with you. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if it's you showing it off, but it doesn't look as bad as the original pictures. Those original pictures were horrible, and we both clowned on it because it was bad. Still not good. It's still a mess from the canopy out, the cockpit up. to the shovel, like that whole area is just not very cohesive. It could be accurate. I don't know what these vehicles look like in depth in person. I don't like that. I also don't like the arms going to the bulldozer or the shovel. I don't think those, the arms themselves, I don't know. They don't look like they have pistons or anything on it, and I always think of a lot of pistons on them.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's fine. Colors, I'm not gonna complain too much because it's too accurate, so it's all one color. I don't like that, but it is what it is. The wheels do look nice, though.
Yes,
that's probably the best thing about this alt mode.
So, I agree. Just going from front to back.
And can I just say something really quick? I'm sorry to cut you off, but before you move it, it looks like there's two different shades of green in the bucket.
Here.
The center and the sides. And
so that's actually just shadows, I guess.
Okay. All right. I think I just wanted to clear that up before. It's probably light coming through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because looking at it, yeah. Oh, actually, it does look. It does look like this. Actually, no, I take that back. This piece here
is a different green. That surprises me with Fanstoys.
And I'm trying to make sure because like different angles. Again, it might be here. I'll verify it. I'll take it apart so we can see it without the shadow.
Okay.
But let's do that. First off, you do get rotation with the shovel as well. I didn't. So there is some articulation there. Wheels do roll, as you mentioned. Nice rubber tires here. I agree with you. I don't like the way these look. It would have been nice to see some molded in details or, like you said, pistons or something like that. However, going for G1 accuracy, I don't recall seeing pistons and all those types of things drawn on the cartoon. So I get it. But it also just, it looks like blocky. I mean, here, and this is for combined mode, the extra piece actually, plugs into this area for stability and things. So I get it, but it does look it doesn't look like a finished product. It looks like it's Legos, which is what we talked about. It's just, you build pieces on top of each other to form the design, I guess, or what the mold of whatever it is that you're trying to build. So that's what it looks like here. As we go back, as you mentioned, from the canopy to the back, I think it smooths out a lot better. The back is probably where it shines the most. Little vents and stuff. It's very clean. The alt mode is probably the weakest part, I think, for me. And again, with any of these, we're not going to show the combined mode until they're finished and we can actually combine them. But yeah, I don't really care for this this alt mode that much. The little windshield here, it's literally a wind shield. It's probably just protecting from the wind. It's kind of hollow back here, which makes sense because we can talk about the accessories. The combined mode part actually stores. Let me just bring this up. Back here. And there you have storage. Looks like it has some, racing wings or something like that on there. And then the gun can just store on the bottom here. And it looks like he has an exhaust pipe, so, and again, I already must have put it. If you want to store this, put it in the box. But that's the alt mode, and yeah, it's not my favorite.
Yes, I'm surprised that extra pieces don't actually go in between the two pegs, the two spokes, because I'm looking at the line art. So why don't we compare it to the tune, and if you look, it has all that stuff in the center.
Oh, here.
And that's where I would expect the combined mode parts to go. Just looking at this,
that might have been a better idea, especially since it kind of goes there when it combines. So
yeah,
you're talking about, well, I don't know how it would have been smaller.
It would have had to like shrink or something, right?
Yeah, but to fill it out.
Yeah, I think that would have been much better. So that's all. And that surprises me because that automatically makes it not look tune accurate compared to what we're looking at here. Now the tune does look like a go-kart with a shovel on the front, just with the proportions. So Fanstoys is a little bit better in that aspect, and the proportions are a little wonky. And Fanstoys just made it a little bit more realistic, which I do appreciate. But that scoop section, I think they could have done better on.
So I do want to point out, just looking at this arc here, they kind of captured that from the tune. You can kind of see that there. That's and then even the windshield.
Yeah,
it's kind of
accurate, but it's weird.
Yeah, it is accurate. Again, I agree with you. Let's break this up, because now you have me thinking about it. Is this a different color green? And I'm just gonna take some parts. And these tab in very, very well, so I do like that aspect. Okay, so I untabbed it.
To me, they look like a different shade of green.
This part, these, and this looks like a different part, a different color green.
Compared to the two sides, yeah.
I think so too.
That might be for stability, because it is the foot and that's the toe.
And it's a thicker piece of plastic. And I'm trying to yeah, it is a different. It is a different.
That, to me, that's crazy just because that's such a focal point of this figure.
So I brought it up towards,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks different here too.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but with the light shining on it, you can really see
you could really notice it with the studio lights, let's say.
Yeah, and even this part here is a different color green. I mean, so basically this whole panel
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a different color. Didn't even notice that.
But either which way, I think we have one more thing to compare it to. Am I correct?
Yes. So let me see if I can pick this in really quick here. And there we go. And this comparison is strictly for the fact that this is a comparison. Don't think it's accurate. But yeah, you can see the Mecha Invasion versus the Fanstoys. And here's the top.
Yeah, completely different scales. But the bomb modes were really rather similar in size, correct?
Give or take. I mean, it wasn't as big of a difference as this.
Okay.
And here's the... So, Now, the first thing that, well, go ahead, James. You tell me what you.
I mean, Mecha Invasion wins in all categories in alt mode for me. But again, that shouldn't be a surprise if you've watched our channel at all. I love all the decals, everything on it. I do like the colors of the Fanstoys. I think the green is vibrant and stuff, but the muted green also looks very nice. So take that as you will. But yeah, I much prefer the Mecha Invasion.
Yeah, in alt mode, this looks real world, more real world, than this one does. This is definitely G1 accurate. I do like all the tempos and designs, the windshield and all that stuff, but this didn't have it. So this wins. This one's for me as well. But again, I like G1 accuracy. This has the shape and the form of G1. I just don't like the output of it. There's parts that I don't like around here, as you mentioned. This just looks, it's the arm. So they did so well on the bot mode that they made everything function as it transformed, and it's just function. It's not to clean it up and make it look good in alt mode as well. So they did so much with the bot mode, it sacrificed the way the alt mode looks, I think.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think we can move on to our final thoughts. I'm going to keep this really brief because I don't plan on picking this figure up. It looks fine. It's not for me. I think there are a few companies that are doing a better scrapper than Fanstoys. In my eyes, it does not live up to the Fanstoys name. With the alt mode. I mean, you have to think of all three modes, and one of the modes, in my opinion, is horrible. And it does not live up to Fanstoys. I don't know if it's a different designer or what, but that's also just me looking at it. I'm not feeling it, so on and so forth. But that alt mode is probably the worst thing Fanstoys have ever came out with, except for Powerglide's arms falling off. But that's a QC issue. So not considering that, it's probably the worst thing Fanstoys has ever come out with, which is still pretty good for Fanstoys, But still, I think we hold them to a higher caliber than other, third-party manufacturers, and they did not nail it on this one. Hopefully, their future Devastator endeavors will be better.
I am only going to push back on one thing you said. You said in 3 modes. We only showed 2, so we'll save the third mode.
Well, yes, but still.
Yes, I just want to make sure when people hear that they're like, hey, did we miss the third mode? So we will show the combined mode once all the pieces are in.
It's even worse if you're just considering both 2 modes. I was giving them a benefit of the doubt.
I think they are on both ends of the spectrum. I think the bot mode was really good from the front, and the alt mode is kind of bad. I think both modes touch on very good things, and the alt mode suffers dramatically. I like the fact that they gave us a piece for stability, but I'm also used to G1 had the chest wing is what connected to Scrapper. So having
and they still might have that,
and they still might, when it comes out, and you can put this away and that part will clip on. But in terms of having storage right now, and from what we see right now, this kind of threw me off. It makes sense for stability issues. I like the storage of the weapon in alt mode. But yeah, it's just, this big gap back here, the gap here. Again, looking at the picture you showed, it definitely shows some downfalls of the alt mode. Again, bot mode definitely looks better to me. It is chunky. I'm used to them being a little bit thinner from the tune.
But there's still problems with the backpack as well in bot mode. Yeah,
that's the thing. The front looks great. The side and the back, some of the articulation isn't there. So I know we haven't been giving these grades, but I think I would probably give this the alt mode probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10, and the bot mode I'd probably give it like a 6 or 7 I from the front, I give it a 9, but when you start looking at the overall, I give it like a 6 or 7. So
I think that is very. Let's do actual numbers because you said 6 or 7. I would probably give the bot mode with the backpack a 6. It doesn't do it for me, but it still looks good from the front, so it gets a little bit more. The alt mode, I'd probably give it a 3. It is the worst alt mode that we've seen for Devastator across all the lines. Let's just be honest. I mean, we haven't talked about a lot of them. We don't have them in hand. They could change, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But from what we see already, it's probably the worst looking scrapper in alt mode out of all of them. And I think I don't think you can't say anything against that.
yeah, I'm not impressed with this alt mode so far. And again, only have compared it to Mecha Invasion from having in-hand experience. Once we get the others in, we'll go ahead and do this again and show them all lined up and how they compare. But so far, this is if we average it out, it's a good figure, it's a decent figure, but it's not my favorite so far.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it lives up to their reputation. So
yeah.
Let us know what you think down below if you have this figure and you love it, or if you're waiting on extra bots, or if you're like me and you're perfectly good with the Mecha Invasion one. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Yes. Till all Devastator wars are won. See you all next time.